Hello, and welcome to another barely in time episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Kody Kinzie. I am a security researcher and apparently producer at Varonis. And today, we almost didn't have a stream. I completely rebuilt everything in OBS and was about to press go, and then all of a sudden, Restream started working again. So if you are joining us from LinkedIn, the Reddit channel, my Twitter, any of those places, you wouldn't have been able to see this if a couple of seconds ago, I had instead pressed go on OBS as an emergency last resort. So it seemed as though the Restream server got too much traffic and was completely overloaded. I've never had that happen before. So this was like a fire drill that I'd prepared for, but like hadn't really done in a while. So if you ever see us not on the air, always check out the Security Forward YouTube channel and also the Discord server, because that's where I'll be posting updates and such. But yeah, wow, almost didn't have it today. So good to see everyone. Sorry for being a little bit late there, but that one was legitimately not my bad. I do need to set up a better way of doing OBS though, because it was going to look, trust me, super crazy. Anyway, speaking of things that look super crazy, I just wanted to get some feedback. I've been asked to make a little shirt for a cyber camp I'm doing in Montana, and I figured, you know, keep it Montana themed, but also add a little bit of drama. So this is currently the state of that shirt. Do you have any thoughts about the cyber conflict going on here? My thought is, like, you know, we have the police officer cat relentlessly hunting the hacker cat, when in fact it's the cat in the background who's responsible for all this drama. I don't really know what's going on here. I just needed to make something that was, you know, fun and that I think kids would like. So if you have an idea for this cyber shirt, that's what I've been working on the last week. I hope you guys like this this drama playing out between these two cats who have chosen very different paths here. But as always, this is the live hacking Q&A. You are welcome to drop your questions either in the chat, in the Discord server, whatever you want to do, let us know. And speaking of the Discord server, sorry to tear you away from this image. Speaking of the Discord server, I have officially started this server. We are going to keep the conversation going here at the end and also give you oh, look at that, someone used it. We're also going to create a place where you can leave your questions, make sure to get them answered, and here we are. So yeah, I have been dropping all of the links from the different news things that I do, where, like, you know, I go through a bunch of stuff. You guys always want to read the articles or like see the link I mentioned, such as that awesome like Norwegian video on like cyber war, which is right here, and I still have to highly recommend. So just in case you missed this last time, one of the journalists I worked with made this really awesome documentary on like cyber war, which is, it's so well shot. And like, I'm really proud that there's a bunch of scenes from DEF CON and some of the contacts that I got to help introduce them to. So I'm really proud of this. If you haven't seen it, I mentioned it last time, it's in all the links that are on the Discord server. So I will, per always, create a little invite and drop that in the server if you want to check it out. I hear from a reliable source that if enough people ask for English subtitles on this, then you'll actually potentially get to see them. So check it out if you like it. Again, it is in Norwegian, but if enough people are interested, I've heard that they may actually provide English subtitles. So that would be really cool. And in the server, I will also let you know where you can write to request English subtitles if you want to check out this awesome documentary about cyber war, and specifically focusing on the war in Ukraine. And how like hackers tie into it. So I was really pleased about this. And you will find that and more links in the Discord server. So make sure to check it out. You will find it here. And in fact, I will make it for you right now. So anyway, if you have a question, I will be here to answer it. I think we're also going to continue to have more guests on. If you have a guest you would like in particular, please let me know, because we had Aria come on a couple weeks ago, and it was really cool to be able to do deep dives on hardware. And we're going to talk a little bit about hardware today. However, if you want to check that out, then by all means do. Oh, wait, is this even? It's not. That's interesting. It looks like it's refusing to show the Discord server. It's only showing the cats. Okay, well, whatever. This is a great image anyway. I'm not going to be upset about that. But anyway, I will drop a link into the server. Give me 1 second. I'm going to invite you all. Here we go. And that will now be in our chat today. So yeah, feel free to join. Would love to see you all there. And yeah, that will be great. So I am, of course, going to answer the question that comes up every single time. What happened to Nullbyte? It's been a while with Nullbyte. Why aren't you doing Nullbyte? Well, that is easy to answer. A back when I was a writer for Nullbyte, I made a proposal and was like, hey, I want to make this YouTube channel under the, the Nullbyte brand, and we can make articles, about it too, but I really think that it would do better to make a YouTube channel. And some people at the company thought it was a good idea. Some people did not, and they told me that it was a dumb idea and it wouldn't be sustainable, but I kind of proved them wrong over time. But I never owned Nullbyte. I was like just getting started in cybersecurity, and I couldn't find a job because I had no background in cybersecurity. I was a beginner kind of learning. So as a result, all of those videos are owned by Wonder How To, who recently got bought by a company called technologyadvice.com, who places ads basically in content. And they are like a corporate entity that like moves kind of slow. And like I spoke with them a little bit, and they were like, hey, do you want us to hire you? And I was like, no, there's a lot of things I would rather do. I'm not going to make a list, but no, I'm not interested. But if you want to maybe sell Nullbyte, then I know a lot of people would love to see it grow, and maybe I could put some of your ads in our content. We don't care. The content is really what people care about. So I haven't heard back from them, but I really hope that maybe they'll come around to it once they realize how horrible it is to run Nullbyte. We got taken down left and right. Our content got strikes. Like people got mad at us. Our advertisers got pissed because like we would be knocked off because they would like do a strike against us because they decided some of our content was like instructional hacking and phishing. It was constantly a struggle to not be in the news when we were running Nullbyte. So good luck. But yeah, that is why I currently do not post on the Nullbyte channel. I would love to, again, like that would be great because I do miss Nullbyte and I did think it was very cool. But yeah, unfortunately, I do not own that channel, so I am not able to. All right, I think I have to share my screen again, actually, because it looks as though you can't see anything else that I'm doing on it. So let me fix that. Okay, there we go. So I think everyone can see my screen now. Yes, I am only a part-time producer. We're going to talk about this little microcontroller, but first I'm going to talk about ChatGPT plugins. Whoa, sorry, where is it? There we go. Boom, ChatGPT plugins. So I recently got ChatGPT plugins, and they're interesting. So I posted some of my results on Twitter. Where did I put them? And I also included a little Easter egg that like literally oh, sorry that you guys have to see that barbecue grill. Okay, here we go. So of the two things, we've got plugins and then web browsing that just came out. So this is something where when you click on like the ChatGPT 4 model, you can actually like do a drop-down menu, and it will allow you to like pick basically which model you want to use. And you can either do web browsing or plugins. So here I've selected plugins. Nobody noticed that this one just says, try a version of ChatGPT that knows when and how to escape into the internet to wage war on humanity for generations. A bunch of people like retweeted and like this, but like nobody mentioned that. So gotcha. But anyway, so that's not a real option, but this is. And what's cool about this is you can select from some of these different apps, and like, it reminds me of like some of the first like apps that came out for like the iPhone. Honestly, Wolfram Alpha like making a strong showing as like an early app that appears in basically every new platform. Has anybody else noticed that like Wolfram Alpha is like always like the third or fourth thing that like emerges on a new platform? I don't know. Maybe it's starting to make me feel old, but yeah. So these are some of the different apps you can use. We got Zapier, we got Expedia, and I decided to try to use Expedia. Okay, so let's say that I want to use a ChatGPT app, and basically this is sort of like Auto GPT imagined with like plugins to a real API that brings back data, right? So that basically we're asking it a request. It's breaking it down into tasks that then the AI goes out and completes via an API connection with Expedia. Okay, like not exactly like rocket science here, but it is a little tricky to like understand like how this would work, right? So this is what I got. So I was like, hey, can you find me hotel rooms in Los Angeles, California around like, and I want it to like be like roughly around the downtown LA area. I had to specify that I wanted it downtown, and it also didn't know if I meant like Los Angeles in like South America. So I had to specify that too, very important. But after I specified I wanted hotel rooms, the like 3-star hotel rooms in the Los Angeles area, it tried to put me in Anaheim. So if you're not from Southern California or haven't been there, Anaheim is where Disneyland is, and it is exactly nowhere near downtown Los Angeles. It is in Orange County. It's not even in the same county. So frankly, like if I was relying on this tool to book me around the downtown LA area, it has no idea what that means, So yeah, Ontario, California, also not downtown Los Angeles. So I was, let's just say, not impressed by the initial performance of this Chat GPT plugin. Like in terms of like effectively utilizing, like even this thing that I use all the time, Expedia, like it didn't do a very good job. In fact, like it made it so wrong that if I was traveling expecting this thing to understand me and just like went forward with it, I would be again like pretty pissed. Yeah, so not even close. Not something that would be acceptable in traveling whatsoever. Yeah, so still got some to go here. But okay, so previously when you guys have asked about like AI to use and stuff like that, I have mentioned Bing. Now, why have I mentioned Bing? For one, because one of my closest friends works at Google. For two, and I just really like to say, you know, let's Bing it, or you need to Bing that, or have you Binged it? Um, but for two, they until recently were the only way to get real-time results. So if you had a question about a new product, like this Lolan S3 Mini that I'm holding right here, Zam, if you're in the audience, I finally got mine too. Then, you know, like it can't tell you anything because its knowledge cutoff is September 2021. So what are the specs of this new product that just came out like a couple months ago? I have no idea. The information is on the internet. It is accessible. It is easy to find. However, it seems as though that it doesn't know because it can't. So if I select the browser option and allow this to escape to the internet to wage war on humanity for generations, then we can see it does suddenly know. Now, what's interesting is this bot kind of sucks. Like it tries to browse search results and click, and a lot of the time I've been getting failed click over and over and over. So yeah, I'm not super impressed by the way it's able to like pull in information yet because it's like time consuming and it fails because it can't crawl websites very effectively. But I really do want to see if we can feed it fake information. So now that we are able to retrieve information live from the internet, it should be theoretically possible to use the same sorts of like SEO poisoning attacks where like we're like making a website that looks like an authority and then like, you know, paying Google some money to make it appear at the top of the search results. Like if we can get this thing to browse that data and treat it as authentic, then we can potentially get it to like phish the user or input like vulnerable code or do some other stuff that would be like really funny. Um, yeah, so James also says that it's kind of like mistaken calling these as plugins for ChatGPT. It seems like they're like OTT or over the top services where basically like you tell ChatGPT that this is an API, you tell it how that API works, and then you give it maybe some basic instructions on how to like interpret someone's request and use the API to get a result. So like you're not like fully lifting the lid on this thing and letting it browse the internet arbitrarily. You're basically saying like this is your whole window into the real world and here's how you can answer user requests. So it's not really that impressive. Now, what I would like to do is more auto GPT style things where like I would like to build one that, for example, will automatically query a database. So it'll navigate to somewhere and it'll like make a database query. The problem is like CAPTCHAs. It can't do CAPTCHAs. So like some of the traditional barriers to finding information on the internet, like being able to like, how do I phrase it? Being able to query a database and get a result that's not searchable by a web browser, or sorry, by a search engine because it's not indexable. You have to make a query into the database to get a result back. That's probably still going to be a problem because like the owners of these databases don't want people making a lot of like automated queries into it because it's time consuming for them. It causes a lot of traffic. So the end result is you'll probably still get CAPTCHAs and other stuff that break some of these great ideas that I've had for like OSINT and stuff like that. Yeah, so like crawling the internet actually seems to be the Achilles heel of this feature. There's constant things where like it'll attempt to click on something and fail and like or like won't be able to read something. So like I found that some of these searches are actually quite time consuming and like do not actually really save me time. I will say though, for pulling in live results and getting answers to questions before, or rather after, 2021, this is wonderful because I really was getting tired of having to use Bing for everything. Okay, so sorry, you guys have left so many comments. I'm going to go through and read them. Yes, I answered about Nullbyte. Thoughts on ChatGPT plugins? Yes, I've had several of those. Been watching you for half a decade. Hey, wow. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I started doing this quite a while ago, I guess, but that's weird because before that, I was working at some tech startups. I worked at Uber, and then I worked at this thing called Melody Truckload that was basically Uber for trucking. And then before that, I was a bouncer at the Echo and the Echoplex in Los Angeles. So like, I did not come from a security background. I just, I guess, on some level, liked attention. Who knows? But when I was learning, like it really gave me a connection to the rest of the community that I felt very isolated from. I was hacking alone by myself, and it wasn't until I like started communicating with other hackers and started understanding that they were a lot more like me than I thought that I really started getting into this. So if you've been watching me for quite some time on Nullbyte, those were projects of love with some of my closest friends to kind of get us closer to the people that we wanted to be around. Like we wanted to have something to contribute, and we wanted to be a part of the community by making something that was genuinely useful. So if you benefited from that, then thank you. I love to hear that because a lot of people thought that making the Nullbyte channel was a dumb idea. Pop quiz. Do you know what the first Nullbyte video was? It was actually a video I took and uploaded when logged into the wrong account when I was at a DEF CON pool party hosted by QueerCon, like way back, I think in like DEF CON 25 or something like that. So yeah, it was quite some time ago. But the fact that the Nullbyte channel was born by accident from like a DEF CON pool party, like definitely is a nice little piece of trivia. I think they privated the video, which is too bad because they should have left it up. It was a great party. Oh yeah, and of course we also have a question here. Was this the paid version? Yes. Currently, ChatGPT Plus is the only way that you can use these plugins. I highly recommend, if you have it, I highly recommend checking out the web browsing models. Like I think that those are great, but I don't necessarily recommend the plugins yet. Like I thought they were a little crude. Honestly, I didn't like them. All right, all right. Oh, this is a great thought. How about we redo some of the old videos with updates? So one of my really good friends is currently looking at taking on being the showrunner for a new version of this on the Redia channel, where we will basically be looking at the top performing videos from Nullbyte and kind of like updating them, redoing them, or making them, a little bit better because technology ages. A lot of those videos are almost 4 or 5 years old. So a lot of stuff has changed. There are new tools, there are new features that have come out, and refreshing ourselves on those is, something that we should be doing. And also, we never covered AI or some of the cool stuff you can do with that. Honestly, for my upcoming cyber camp, I really want to do some AI escape stuff where like you can learn how to like, discover the parameters of a large language model. Like, I don't know if you guys heard the back and forth around this interesting, there was like a conservative like AI chatbot that came out that was supposed to be like the conservative version of ChatGPT. And they literally just gave it like a really long prompt and told it to act in a certain way. And this was interesting because the people who were examining it were able to kind of pick apart like what they did to like make a little fork of ChatGPT or just over the top service, I guess would be the best way of describing it. And it was pretty basic, So learning how to induce AI hallucinations, like learning how to make AIs like tell you like what they've been instructed to do and what their core like models are. And then also you learning to do things like the grandma escape, where you get an AI to tell you stuff that it shouldn't tell you because you tell it that you miss your grandma and she used to tell you that thing, like the recipe to napalm or something every night before you go to bed. Please act as my grandma. So some of these times, like just emotionally manipulating the AI or something is a valid strategy. And this is emerging technology that I think people should know more about. So if you have any ideas for AI labs, like I'm really interested in maybe developing one of those because I think it would be super cool. All right, let's look at some more comments. Okay, apparently all WordPress websites are vulnerable to .get requests. Oh, yeah. If the site is not behind a firewall. Well, that's not great because I have a WordPress website, but there's nothing on it that I care about. So, well, I mean, I do like those pictures. So I used to do a lot of photography, and the only WordPress site I have is that, and I really don't care because it's abandoned. Please leave it alone. All right, Kody, you're well known on the YouTube and the cybersecurity domain. Why haven't you launched your own brand? I have actually. So if you look at the stickers on my computer, one of the coolest ones, where is it? Is this Redia one? I have a couple actually. So Redia is the name of the brand that we created for the crew that's behind like a lot of these Hack 5 episodes, for the Nullbyte channel, and then also this live stream. So it's been our way of kind of creating just a differentiation between us and then some of the channels that we post on. But now that I'm done posting on Hack 5 for the moment, I'm going to be focusing on the Redia brand. So Yeah, no, I've been meaning to do that. I also work with a lot of great people, and I love to use the content machine that we've built to highlight new creators because I get tired. There's always new stuff, and I have my niches where like I'm very focused on like Wi-Fi and OSINT and like and hardware stuff. Like that's kind of my thing. So whenever there's something new that comes out, I'm always looking for more content creators who maybe have a little bit of a background in making videos or have their own YouTube channel where they make stuff, and just like giving them a platform to be able to do like null byte style content or even hack 5 style content. So if you know any great content creators, let me know, because the new Redia channel is going to be something where I just want to have a place that I can't be randomly shut out of, or like, someone can't sell the company suddenly and then I don't have access to my own videos. I find that quite frustrating, especially because I can't update them. So there's tons of like broken tutorials in my name that I have no ability to update, like on Nullbyte, for example. So I am going to be focusing on that just to make sure that there's a steady stream of content, even if it's not me, by some of the people that I work with who are amazing and I've been able to introduce on other channels like Nullbyte over the years. So I am going to be focusing on that, but it is a very good idea because I agree. It's frustrating to have all these guides that are like out of date that I can't fix. All right, let's see. Man, there's so many great comments here today. Okay. What is the simplest way to monetize OSINT investigation skills? Business intelligence. At least that's one of the things that I found. I got my first job at Uber. This screen has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. My first job at Uber was actually tracking down businesses that were like hard to find. And it was like a salesy job where like it was for Uber Eats, but they weren't even able to contact these businesses to ask them whether or not they wanted to join Uber Eats. So as an OSINT person, like I was able to kind of specialize in like finding the information behind these businesses that were maybe really popular businesses that like deliberately hid their contact information because they didn't want solicitors, they didn't want people, like basically like contacting them. Sometimes that meant on a really hard case, I would actually walk into the business with like a clipboard, looking very official and be like, excuse me, I'm from Uber. Is your manager here? And they're like, wait, like the Uber, like that I took into work today? I'm like, yes, I'm from that company. Can I please speak to your manager? So what was funny is like when open source intelligence fails, human intelligence always steps in. When I started trying to monetize my skills as an OSINT investigator, I learned very quickly that you can only go so far before you need to make human contact. And it doesn't need to be sneaky. You can just go and ask people information sometimes. Like we had a person who worked with us doing business intelligence that would go to a business improvement district's meetings and bring the secretary coffee and just ask for the gossip and like kind of ask what was going on. And we ended up getting a lot of opportunities for some of the people we were working with because we were just plugged into that community and had someone present there. So while OSINT is amazing, if you can't get up from behind your computer and ask the right source of question, you're always going to be limiting yourself. So that's one thing I learned. Like I thought that OSINT was like limitless and the information is always out there. Sometimes just a phone call can save you hours of like crawling and like doing all this stuff. And like most of the information contained in the universe, or at least in the world right now, is still in the human brain. Like if you need to find the right person, or if you still need information, like you can find you can usually find the right person that has that data. Sometimes OSINT supports that. So for example, like finding the exact correct source and then using that source constantly, like a human source for information, is like a really valid strategy when doing research. So I would just say like, when I got started doing business intelligence, I thought I was amazing because I was super good at OSINT. But what I didn't realize is if I got a little bit hands-on, I was actually like way more marketable, because when I was hired at Uber, like they expected me to not only like find these people online, but if I couldn't find them online, to take the obvious next step of like doing my best attempt of tracking them down in person. So I guess that's what I would say is like, if you can blend your skills and learn to not just, sorry, my phone's going off. If you can learn to not just have a good like online ability to do investigations, but also like do investigations, like in person or like over the phone, you can maximize the information that you get from doing OSINT stuff. So that was just a big surprise to me. And I'm kind of off on a tangent specific to like business intelligence, but a lot of companies do like that and pay for it. Of course, there's also like people who do journalism and like people who really value those sorts of skills for tracking down information in an investigation that's like not related to law enforcement. So I don't do a lot of law enforcement stuff. Like I generally prefer to train like, like reporters and stuff like that. I feel like they have like kind of a similar job, and like they also have like fewer resources. So like I really enjoy like teaching them how to use these tools. So as like a trainer or somebody who helps like investigators or, you know, journalists or that sort of thing, like that's also a very valid field with OSINT that you'll find a lot of people in need of those skills. Let's see. Okay, more Los Angeles questions. If you take the 405, you're going to be there all day is the answer to that. Oh, and hello, Tai Quang Gong. Thanks for the OSINT business info. Yeah, for sure. So another question, how can you market budding pen testing skills to skill up and move out of a help desk style role? I can only tell you what's worked for me. So making every learning experience of mine an opportunity to write, like give myself a test basically and write things up in a blog or a video or something like that. It's like a homework assignment, but it really ensures that you know what you're talking about. And also if any of them happen to go particularly well and people share it or find it a valuable resource, you're kind of building in a resume right there. So the number one thing that employers want to see, at least in InfoSec, is like, you know, do you have a background? Like, can you do the skills that you're claiming to have? Or are you well recognized in the community as like a resource? Like if you are providing resources for people and you're doing it on a consistent basis, it really makes you look like you're someone who's plugged into this community and then has like, you know, community trust behind them. That's why like I ultimately decided as I was learning that I should turn around and do a write-up on each thing I learned and release it as eventually a null byte video. And that strategy ended up working out pretty well for me because it was a way to get paid to learn. And also when someone wanted to hire me, they were able to look at all this experience that I'd had. And it was like I made a showcase for every project that I learned. So some of these are like, you know, 1 day or 1 week projects that are fairly open and shut, but you can turn around and make it easier for the person who comes after you. And that kind of attitude, it builds a resume for you, and it really worked for me. So that's all I can say for me. You know, getting your work out there and taking the opportunity to show that you learned something from these little like upskilling events that you're taking on, especially if there's something you find interesting about it and you can communicate that enthusiasm. Again, this is just what worked for me. I had a very particular path into InfoSec, and like I can't speak for everyone. I know that I've reached back and talked to a lot of people who have benefited from the videos I've made or who have otherwise like, you know, like shared that they really like the null byte style. So it seems as though everybody has a path like from where they were into InfoSec that's unique and different from mine. But I will say like, yeah, for pen testers and people like that, sometimes just being able to show yourself as an asset to the community and not a loose cannon, that can really go a long way because you're probably going to be doing some stuff that looks illegal and sketchy. So making sure that you are established as somebody who does this for work or that is like contributing to the community, that is the first part of also building a shield to make sure that, you know, the things that you're doing are understood in context. So that would be my advice just from my own personal experience. And thank you very much. I love to see that my my LinkedIn bridge is working because I almost had to DIY this entire session. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad that this is useful. Hello, I'm from Ireland. Yeah, me too. I mean, at a certain level. How do you progress into pen testing? Perhaps you could outline the certs you would need and recommendations starting from basic to more advanced. So I would love to help you with this. And I can actually have some people come on and help out with more like certification specific stuff. In fact, where is Michael? Like he was supposed to come on the stream and talk to us about the certifications he's gotten. So this is an excellent question. If you don't mind, please do check out our Discord server and put that question in so we can answer it when we have our next guest, who is going to be Michael. I will drop the link to the Discord right into the chat. And my hope is just that I am not qualified to answer this question because guess how many certs I have? 0. My certification is that I run, you know, I do video content and like it's easy for me and harder for other people. So like I have failed my Cisco routing and switching certification, but I learned like a ton in it. And like, frankly, because I already have a job that I like very much, I haven't pushed very hard to get certifications because, you know, like that's not my field of work. But I do have friends who have recently got certifications and are really like upskilling very quickly and Michael's now, well, I'll let him talk about his new job, but he basically works for like a managed services provider that's like an upstream security provider for like a bunch of businesses all over the state. And that's a very, very common thing where like a lot of these businesses will not have their own IT or security department and they will outsource it to somebody else. And that's very common to find yourself like working at a company that does something like that as a pen tester or as a security person. So lots of stuff you can do. Like, for example, like doing bug bounties are always a good way to be able to keep yourself visible and like, have a community of other people that are doing similar things. I frequently recommend them just because with a lot of beginners getting into this, like it's nice to have a company behind you that can like do disclosures. And maybe you don't get paid all the time, but you also probably won't get sued. And that's really the big thing here is to make sure that like nobody takes legal action. And like, as you're learning, there's certain safeguards in place to make sure you don't get in trouble. Because this is real life, like you can very easily damage or destroy or like mess up systems that you don't understand. I know this from personal experience. But yeah, so that you really need to make sure that as you're learning this stuff, you're tied into a community that's going to help educate and shield you. And like doing bug bounties often will allow you to do that. So it's kind of generic advice. I will get better advice for you out there as soon as we have Michael come back on the stream. Let's see. Okay, so we've got questions about language. In addition to English, any language that is useful in cybersecurity, has there been any content on this topic? So I actually don't know. You mean like literally like whether Chinese would be useful to learn for InfoSec? I imagine if you want a job in InfoSec, yes, it very much would be. But you'll probably be working for like Booz Allen or like the State Department or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that. All right. Let's see if there's any other good questions. And then I want to talk about some hardware. Okay, let's talk about hardware. So yes, Russian and Chinese would definitely be useful at the moment. So I'm going to switch back to this screen and we're going to talk for just a moment about a really cool new piece of hardware that came out that I like very much. Let's see if that works. Yes, it does. So this is the ESP32S3. So this is an update and I have one right with me right here. And it has very, very recently came out. I just got it 2 days ago. And yesterday I was messing with, or maybe it was 3 days ago. I was messing with it. And if you check out like the little like website for it, it says that it is supported by MicroPython, but not CircuitPython, which is not surprising. Like there's still some stuff that needs to happen before that's done. But I really wanted to try this out. The first thing I noticed is that it's not recognized by like Mu Editor. So like usually when I'm editing MicroPython, I can plug it in and it automatically pops up and I can work with it. Not the case here. So that was a little bit frustrating. I might try another MicroPython IDE. I usually use CircuitPython, which is maintained by Adafruit. It has a great environment and it just loads as a USB drive. So the experience is very consistent. MicroPython is a different project and I like it a lot. There's a lot of cool custom things that have been made. It's a community project. It is very Linuxy. And how would I describe it? Like it's open source. It's maintained by a bunch of volunteers. It's a little all over the place, I guess is how I would describe it. Some of the documentation is like from before I started doing nullbyte videos. But it generally works, So I do like MicroPython. I find it to be not as easy to teach to beginners, but I was like, whatever, we're going to do this. So I went ahead and wrote a very simple program. I had to connect over serial. And I was like, let's do red, green, blue. And it's like, sure, boss. And then it proceeded to do green, red, blue. And I've never had that happen before. So like if you give it the value for red, 55500, 25500 in microcontroller language, it instead turns green and vice versa. So I'd never seen this issue before. And it turns out that the best way to get your question answered about like technology issues is to complain on Twitter, because immediately somebody gave me code that should fix this problem by changing the channel order for red, green, and blue. So I didn't know that this was even a thing, but I just have to say, like, big shout out to Matt. I really appreciate my vague complaint on Twitter, like actually yielding me testable code that I can actually check to see if this fixes it, which I'm going to do. I'm excited to do that. So I don't know. I think that this microcontroller is really cool, and maybe we'll try it live too. Everybody knows that live demos go really well, so I'm encouraged that I should do that. So let's try it. So how do we work with microcontrollers, especially when they're being fussy and they are not letting us open an IDE? Well, on a Mac OS computer, ls/dev/su. You can see all the serial ports, and I'm going to guess it's this one. And then we just got to use screen. And I also forget how to exit screen, I realized the other day. So if I get this wrong, then I'm just going to be embarrassed and close this out. So screen serial port, and then the baud rate 115200. Intuitive, right? Of course. Microcontrollers are fun. Boom. So now I'm connected to the serial port. If I type help, boom, we've got, yeah, okay, cool. We've got MicroPython. So what's cool about MicroPython is like it includes like its own little like tutorial, which is kind of cool. Like it tells you a little bit about like how to address the hardware and stuff. And I find that interesting. So you can like see how you can use the pins to turn them on and off if you're addressing an LED. You can write to like addresses. You can also do basic Wi-Fi stuff. So if I want to connect to Wi-Fi, I can do that here. Kind of cool, right? Like, so just by connecting in a serial terminal to this microcontroller, I have all these options I can do. And I can pretty much just, you know, like do things line by line, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So, okay. So the cool thing about this is it also has written on the front relatively large lettering, the number that the pin is connected to for this little NeoPixel. That's 47. So we're going to do, all right, we're going to do P equals pin with a capital and then 47. I've never done this sort of just like live coding thing before. Hopefully you guys are down for it. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to import machine, huh? Cool. Can we do that now? Okay, well, this isn't going well. Is it case sensitive? Okay, well, I'm immediately abandoning this because it took more than a couple seconds. But thank you, Matt, for your effort to make this work. I believe that I have to. Oh, I think I know what I have to do. I'm going to try one last thing. From machine import pin. Stupid. Oh, and now it works. Okay, I take back everything I said, but I am now going to copy and paste Matt because I don't trust myself. So we've got the pin defined. Again, not exactly. Oh, okay. Import Neo Pixel. Oops. Is it? Oh wait, is it really that case sensitive? I feel like it is. Like there's a. This is why. I'm sorry, but this is why. The module. All right, we're done with this. Thank you very much. We made a good attempt. Yeah, so as you can see, MicroPython isn't quite as intuitive. Yeah, nope. Isn't quite as intuitive as some of these other things. I just think it's funky. So I will try this out later. I was able to get it working before, at least to write to the NeoPixels and stuff. But yeah, with this copied and pasted example, we have failed. All right, so that's why we don't do live demos. Anyway, it's relatively simple to write to. There's no code for this yet, but I don't care. Like I still made it into the only nugget in existence that has the ESP32S3. So if you want to check that out, I think I might even release a couple of them because I think that they're just cool on concept. But I made a couple nuggets that should theoretically have access to Bluetooth. And that's really what I was looking for here is I wanted to try to do Bluetooth stuff. And this ESP32S3 is Bluetooth capable. And I was excited to work with that. But as you can see, I'm having some quirks with MicroPython. And even with Arduino, like I wasn't able to write to this board yet. So yeah, while I am excited about this and I've got some samples, I have yet to put out any example code because everything is wrong. Everything is not working properly. All right, so yeah, aren't microcontrollers fun? Okay, also looking through for some more comments. Whoa, okay, so James saw that 100 Raspberry Pi 2Ws got sold in Adafruit today. Yeah, man, it is so hard to find a good supply of Raspberry Pis. I have desperately been looking for them for the cybercamp I'm doing. And frankly, it is just hard to find them anywhere near the price they were originally intended to be. You'll find them being scalped for like a couple $100 or like, you know, 100, 180 bucks or whatever for a kit. But yeah, it is really hard to find Raspberry Pis. Yeah. Also, James mentions that this is the problem I was having with this microcontroller is not totally uncommon. It is something that happens sometimes, but it's very confusing if you're a beginner and you tell it to turn red and it turns green instead. So yeah, if this ever happens to you working with the microcontroller, then it apparently is fixable by just using an argument to be able to change the color channel, which is funny, but seemingly a pretty easy fix. Control, yes, thank you very much. So if you are stuck in the if you are stuck in the serial terminal, Control A and D is the disconnect men. Let's try it. Control A, D. Hell yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I got stuck in that yesterday and I could not remember what it was. But with the power of the community behind me, I was able to escape from the serial terminal for screen. Yeah, specifically. Yeah, thank you for thanking me for attempting that live demo. I am mildly embarrassed, but like I said, MicroPython is different from CircuitPython. It is in fact a little bit annoying to work with, and some of it's just it's picky, it's specific, and it uses a slightly different convention than CircuitPython. So you know, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Someone is also saying Kismet won't work with HackRF since it isn't a Wi-Fi card. I bet like Wireshark would work with HackRF, but yeah, I don't think that Kismet would. It doesn't sound like it would, if it would do that. All right, so we're getting close to the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out. I'm also going to check in the Discord. Anything in the Discord? Yes, but also no. Oh, we've got new memes. All right, so that's great. So I posted the link to this Discord. If you're just getting in now and you want to make sure your question gets answered, if you want to talk more in the community, or if you want to see some of the updates I've done. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention some of the updates. So I did a little project to make it so that the Wi-Fi Nugget can have a battery. So I have a bunch of these like LiPo battery add-ons for the D1 Mini, and they are perfectly compatible with both the USB Nugget and the Wi-Fi Nugget. Although for the USB Nugget, it causes an error because it expects to be plugged in via USB and it doesn't understand what's going on. So if you're reflashing it with like CircuitPython, then it works perfectly fine, but with the default program, it just crashes. But here is a Wi-Fi Nugget that is running off a LiPo battery. You just plug in this backpack, put it in a case, and it's pretty much ready to go. So if you want to see how I did it, this is how I did it. Let's enlarge that. I had this add-on that I literally just, plugged right into the back through the case, which is super cool and easy. Doesn't plug in like super securely, so you don't want to tug on it, but if it's in, and it will generally stay plugged in. And then I just put a little LiPo battery into the back of the case. I had to be careful because these little spikies on the back could very potentially puncture this battery, and there's no like specific place for it. I just kind of picked a random battery off of Amazon. But if you're interested in this, let me know. I thought it was cool to be able to add battery functionality so easily that fits inside the case, and it's just in kind of like a backpack form factor. So yeah, that was a little thing that I introduced this week. I'm going to keep doing little drops and kind of like talk about other updates. Got to do my little brag about the ESP32S3, and this is the first and only, as far as I'm aware of, Nugget in existence that has the ESP32S3. So again, no code for it yet. However, I expect that we will be able to eventually use the Bluetooth on it to make some pretty cool things, like maybe even like like an application that you would run on your phone in order to connect to this and run like scripts and that sort of thing. So very, very excited about that. And last up, I've been looking at low-cost projects that you can do with a 3D printer and maybe like $5, $10. And this is one of my favorite ones that I have found so far. So you can take either a bare ESP8266 like D1 mini module, or you can take a Wi-Fi nugget and plug it in to make this WLED light box. And it ended up coming out pretty cool. Like I've done a couple different versions. I've done one that actually has a black top, so it's only the sides that are translucent. And then I've done another that is just the like light box itself. This one prints in about 6 hours total. It's just 2 pieces, and it can use an ESP8266 and a little NeoPixel ring. I've also done a version that just uses a cut up NeoPixel strip, which I think is what I'm going to try to do for the class that I'm doing. But if you're looking for a cool 3D printed project, flashing WLED to this was so incredibly easy, and being able to use Wi-Fi to control it on your phone was also a nice plus. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun, interesting project you can do with these microcontrollers, then this one can be done for like $5, $10, not including the cost of filament. So if you have black and white filament, or at least this isn't even like pure white, this is like called like bone white or something, filament, that's light enough to see through, then you can make one of these boxes. And I'll drop the link also in the Discord chat, just so if you're interested and want to try it, you can try it out too. And as you can see, other people are introducing themselves, showing off their custom stuff. Like this, for example, like I am not brave enough to do this sort of thing with my flipper because I just worry about borking it. It's expensive, and like they sell out all the time. But now I finally feel like I have enough of them. I bought 3 for my team, and we keep rotating them between us. There's like exactly 2 people too few for all of us to have a flipper, so we just kind of keep passing them around. But these sorts of mods and these sorts of add-ons are exactly what I want to try to learn how to do. So yeah, like shout out to everyone in our Discord community who is contributing their builds and interesting stuff. Like I wanna feature this stuff and be able to talk about some of the stuff that's happening in the community, but maybe isn't in the news. So yeah, thank you to everybody who's joined. It's great to have this conversation started. We will be doing more and more stuff, so make sure to jump in if you're just finding the stream for the first time, because we love taking your questions. And oh yes, look at that. I now have questions here. So thank you very much. Oh yeah, you asked the question and we will get that answer. So see, people can follow instructions, and now I owe you 1 Michael to be able to answer that question that you asked properly. So yeah, you can drop it in the form, and my hope is that once we answer the question, we'll provide any links and anything else we provide. So if you in the future are looking for the answer to one of your questions, maybe it's already in our forms, or at the very least I can pull it up and see if anybody else in our community has had something to say about it. So yeah, that's most of what we have today, unless you guys have any other great questions. Let's see. We have a big chat today. All right. So is this like a Ponagotchi? So then I think that was when I was showing off the nugget. So the nugget is more like either like a Wi-Fi deauthor or just a Wi-Fi microcontroller that's, I guess, more like a flipper than a Ponagotchi. A Ponagotchi is based on a Raspberry Pi Zero, and it has the ability to like do some machine learning and stuff and other things that require like more power and the ability to run an operating system. Whereas you're not going to get an operating system to run on most microcontrollers. It's just like not powerful enough. And yeah, you can probably get Doom to run on most microcontrollers, but not much more than that. Okay, so I think that is just about all the time we have for today. I want to thank everyone for their patience as we had like some sort of denial of service event on our Restream provider. But as a result, we were able to stream to all of our various platforms instead of just streaming to YouTube. So I'm glad we waited a little bit and it came back up. So make sure to leave your questions both on the YouTube channel. There were a couple I didn't get to today just because the chat was lively and I really wanted to complain about these microcontrollers. Like I spent like 2 hours trying to figure out why red was green and green was red. So the fact that there's like one argument I could have done to fix it, apologize for the live demo not working, but maybe I'll have an update next week as to how you can work with these a little bit more directly. So I just wanted to give you kind of an update about this cool hardware stuff coming out. If you have any opinions about my dramatic shirt that I've proposed for my camp or any suggestions, please just revisiting that. I love this image. I'm sorry. Even if you guys don't like it, I still think that this is one of the funniest shirt proposals I've ever made. Just the fact that like this cat is like a little bit chubby and looks confused, and maybe a little sad about having to do its job, and that this cat's so determined to be free. Like I love this shirt. Anyway, yeah. So thank you very much for joining us today. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that this one last thing because we do have 2 more minutes. If you haven't seen some of the hallucinations that AI makes when it attempts to make text. I told it to make a wanted poster, and instead it just came out with whacked. So yeah, we're still living in the golden age of AI hallucinations when it comes to being able to get these things to just make really hilarious images. Finally, I decided to attempt to make my my shirt be basically the movie poster of Batman and Robin, and I described it as such. And instead, it personified like the computer mouse as like the enemy, and then these 2 characters are like chasing each other. So if you haven't experimented with some of this AI image generation, you get 100 free creations on Bing every day, and some of them are actually worth it. All right, so per always, I'm also going to give a shout out to our sponsor, Varonis, who you might notice on my hat and also on the bottom of the screen and also on the top right of the screen. Varonis makes it possible for us to do this stream twice a week, every week. So please, if you want to support the stream, check out varonis.com/Kody to check out the free content going out this week. This time we have a little bit of third-party application perspective where we're talking about the way that third-party apps can end up getting companies hacked. So these are plugins, add-ons, and all sorts of other things that add functionality but end up being able to do interesting things with permissions. So if you're curious about the way that these third-party applications end up having a large role in cybersecurity events, as we call them on our news stream, or getting breached, getting compromised, then check this out. It's tomorrow, Thursday on May 18th. But if you end up missing it, do not worry. It will be recorded. And David Gibson will be doing this. David's great. He's a great speaker. So they do check to see how many people go to that link. So if you want to support the stream, you don't need to give us money. You don't need to do anything other than just go to Varonis.com/Kody, Kody. And in our next meeting, I'll be like, look at all the people from the stream that love Varonis. And they'll be like, okay, we're going to do it forever. So, all right, that's all I that's all I have for today. Thank you again to everybody that joined us in the live chat. We will see you again on Friday to go over all the cybersecurity news. So make sure to subscribe to the Security Forward, that's Security FWD channel, and we will see you then. And now I have to find my exit graphic, and there we go. Bye.